Today I'm building a PC. Let's see what we have installed this time. Hello and welcome to Nelly's Nerd Cave. I'm Neil, and on this channel I share my love for tech and gaming with tips, tutorials and reviews of some of the products I've purchased. Today I'm building a new PC for light streaming over TikTok. This is a computer for my wife, and she currently has an i5-10500. And she's only just started streaming and it seems really sluggish. You saw this computer on previous builds, but since then she's published a book and she's all over BookTok and she's started streaming on a daily basis. So she needs something with a little bit more oomph to it. What she's done is she's published a debut novel, which is this one, Finding Home. It's about a girl called Abby, who went to Cedarthorpe to find her estranged mother. She didn't expect to step into a missing persons case or start failing for her one man who might be lying to her. The girl who stayed in Abby's room before her, Sasha, vanished without a trace. Then Abby meets Jack. This is Sasha's brother. He's intense, guarded and desperate for answers, and as they dig into the town's shadowy corners, they uncover a truth darker than they ever imagined. One that suggests Sasha was never meant to be found, and neither was Abby's mother. The closer Abby gets to the truth, the more dangerous Cedarthorpe becomes, and the more she begins to question Jack, her own instincts and even her memories. Now Abby must confront the past she's been running from, because someone is watching and they'll do anything to keep the town's darkest secrets buried. If you want a copy of this, all the information is at the bottom of the screen as I was doing the blurb. So with this plug for my wife's book, which is amazing, I absolutely love it, she's an amazing person, all the details, like I say, are there. So let's get building her new computer. So first up, let's talk about the motherboard. This is the MSI PRO B760M Wi-Fi. This is DDR4 and it supports processors from 12th to 14th gen Intels. This board has a B760 chipset and boasts Gen 4 PCIe slots and M.2. With its micro ATX form factor, this is going to be really good for small cases where space is at a premium, this one, and you'll see that shortly. So it comes with two USB 2 3.2 Gen 1. They run at 50 gigabits per second, and it also has two Gen 3.2 at 100 gigabits. Now, with the capability to add a further two sets of 3.2 Gen 1s to the front panel as well. This particular board also comes fully featured with Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.3, so connecting it to the internet shouldn't be too much of an issue. With this board, I'm going to pair it with this processor. Again, you've seen this before. This is the 12900K. It has 8 performance cores and 8 efficiency cores, and this little thing has plenty of bang for its buck, and I can't wait to see what this can do, as I have an 11900 in my editing PC and have only used this once, so using P&E cores is something that I haven't really experienced to its fullest. This CPU has a TDP of 125 watts when it's on its base power, but a whopping 241 watts when turboing. Talking of the power, P-Core's base is 3.2 gigahertz and the E-Core's is 2.4, where the max clock speed is 5.1 gigahertz and 3.9 respectively. The great thing about this CPU is that it has integrated graphics, which can save you a bit on a graphics card, especially seeing as this particular motherboard has 2 display ports and 2 HDMI ports right here on the board itself. So now I've unpacked this and got this out, we can see here that we've got these huge heat sinks to dissipate the heat. We have 4 DDR4 slots there. We also have 2 PCIe 16 slots, with both being Gen 4, and this one in the middle is a PCI X1 slot, but this one runs at Gen 3 speeds. There are two M.2 slots, both running at Gen 4 by 4, and there's a few ARGB headers, as well as USB across the bottom and SATA here at the, just across the bottom as well. So let's put the CPU into this, and I've read a few bits and pieces about the 12th, 13th and 14th gen that sometimes the little retention bracket can actually bend the CPU. So I've got this from Thermalright. This is the CPU contact frame. Never installed one of these before, so I'll be first time I put this on, and as far as I understand, you remove the stock retention bracket and replace with this using the original screws. So let's have a go with that. So here what I'm going to do is I am going to first of all put the processor in, because I don't want to damage any of these precious pins here by dropping anything or anything like that. So I'll put the CPU in there. I'll get my trusty iFixit kit. Let's have a look. Yeah, that seems about right. And as far as I understand, we take these off here. And we keep the screws. Being careful not to bump the CPU or get anything stuck in it, because it's precious and it costs a fortune in today's modern society. It costs an absolute fortune. So then we pop this here. And then we screw down the original screws, making sure that we don't screw it down too tight. Just enough to take up the slack, I think. There we go. So not too tight, absolutely perfect. So we've used the original screws there to make sure that it's tightened down, and now what we need is some RAM. So what I've got is, yep, I know it's a naughty word at the moment, but I've got some Crucial Pros. These are DDR4s. These run at 32 megatransfers a second, and these are two 16 gigabyte sticks, and I have two of these that I'm going to use. No RGB, but I think when you see the case, you'll see that excessive RGB might be too much. So we stick them in slots 2 and 4. Come on. There we go. There we go. So that's our RAM in. We can expand this further if we wish. Next up is going to be the NVMe drive. Now this one has come out of her previous computer because she wants to keep everything on there. She does have it all backed up onto an external storage. This is a Kioxia Xperia G2. It's a little bit slow with read speeds of 21 megabytes per second and write speeds of 1700 megabytes per second. It's perfectly adequate for this particular job, and it sits directly under this heatsink. Probably something I am going to upgrade along the line for her, because as we know, if you've got Gen 4 speeds, I should really be using them. But with the price of things at the moment, I have to save where I possibly can, and you'll see that a little bit later when we look at the power supply. So this is really easy. You pop this in at an angle. He says not being able to do it properly, and then it's got this wonderful little retention clip here that you can then spin round, and then we pop on the top bit. There we go. And there's the two screws. That's the platform nearly complete. What are we missing? We are missing a cooler. Now, the cooler I've chosen, again, you've seen this before. This is the ID Cooling Frozen A620 Pro. It does support a maximum TDP of 260 watts, so this having 241 watts max, this is plenty enough. This thing has 4 heat pipes. It has 220mm fans built in, and it looks really good, and it's absolutely brilliant when it comes to cooling performance. I know that this brand has had a few issues with things, but it's really simple to put together. I like to try and remember this because, again, you know what I'm like, I always forget. So, very thermal right as far as the retention bracket is concerned and getting it screwed down. We use the same style of bracket. Plonk those down like that, and then we use these little thumb screws here to be able to screw the retaining clips down. There we go. We have a little bit of thermal compound, which is the Arctic MX4. I use this all the time, hence the big tubes. We'll put a massive glob down the middle, and then making sure that the little logos, which is here, are the correct way around. We can then get this started. There we go. My lovely long screwdriver. Absolutely love this screwdriver. Best £5 I ever spent. Making sure we don't screw this down all together on one side and we do it in little bits. This is because if you do it all on one side, it will make the thermal paste uneven, therefore heat dissipation won't work very well, so then there's no point having a cooler in, is there? The box comes with a splitter, and it comes with these weird little clips, but first we'll get the fans out. Again, you've seen these before. I think these are 58 cubic feet a minute fans. Again, perfectly adequate because there's 2 of them. I am just going to spin this round so I can get to everything. Make sure that the power is in the right places. And this one goes like this. This seems to be a standard thing nowadays for these types of fans. Slide down the middle. And again, another fan. There we go. And in the box actually came a fan splitter, and this is to allow you to have control of both fans at the same time, like so. And then we plug that into the fan header on the motherboard. So with zip tie in hand, we now have some quite neat and tidy cables on the side of the fan, so that they don't go anywhere really, and they look cool. So now we've done this bit, what are we putting it in? Well, I'm probably going to have to shuffle things around and move things about a bit, so let's just pack this up. Put you over there onto that retention stuff. Let's move you here. We are going to be using this case. So this is the GameMax Icon Micro ATX case. It has 4 ARGB fans and they're all 120 millimeters. And apparently it comes with a 6-port hub. We'll see that hopefully in a moment when I get it out of the box. One of the things that the box kind of highlights, which I think is pretty silly nowadays, is the fact that it supports water cooling. Okay, shouldn't most of these things support water cooling or some kind of liquid cooler at least? It does have tempered glass front. So like we're saying, get rid of the rubbish. It does have a tempered glass front and it does look quite nice. What's this in here? Little bag of things. Oh, brilliant. I was wondering if it came with screws. It does. Fantastic. Let's take this panel off. Wow, that screw must have been put in by the Hulk. It's supposed to be a thumb screw, not a Hulk screw. So it's not the most expensive of cases yet. It does have proper tempered glass. It has magnetic filters on the top, which is nice to see. And across the top, it also has USB A. Yeah, USB A3 and a USB 2. On the back, we have a fan hub with ARGB, which I will be making use of, and a load of other things that I need to sort out. But first, let's get this unscrewed. Again, the Hulk has put these in. It's a nice, small, compact case, direct to fit nicely under her desk and to look really good. So, without losing anything that's new, let's see what we have here. Okay, that's nice. So we have a basement for our power supply, so it's covered up, which looks good. And it has an air intake, so you could put the PSU up either way, because there's a hole at the bottom as well. Nice place for your motherboard to go. It comes with these 4 ARGB fans. So with that, and with the fact that it's got the 4 ARGB fans, I'm going to just use those as the lighting. I'm not going to go mad with this, because it's going to be under a desk and she's not really going to see it. So she don't particularly care about ARGB or anything like that. So let's have a look. Wait, I first of all need to put in the back plate. I'm very used to having things without backplates because they're built in nowadays, but this one, you need it. So, ooh, fan cables in the way. Okay. It's a very tight fit. Very tight fit. There we go. Sometimes the standoff screws are M3s, sometimes they're not. These ones are M3s. So really, got a standoff here. So let's first of all find out what we're doing with the cables at the rear. We have a rat's nest of cabling. This is ridiculous. However, we do have lots of places we can tie onto, which doesn't make up for the fact that there's tons of them. What the heck? I have never seen so many cables just stuffed into a computer before. Alright, what have we got? So we've got one there. So that must be an RGB colour changing function. There's the power. That's the ARGB for the motherboard, if you wanted to use it. I am going to plug this in because there's no point having it and not using it. So where is the speed control for... Yeah, so there's no PWM line. So it's got a PWM input for the control board, but no cable. How very strange is that? So you can probably see you've got this red one here next to this other fan. This is your PWM, otherwise they're all going full tilt because they're all literally 3-pin fans. First of all, front panel and all the other nice things. So that's a USB. Okay, good. USB, sound. Normally sound is right at the back up here. Thread that through. I know that there and this here is my front panel. Other bits. I think I need to check that box. Okay. So this is going to be a nightmare to be able to cable manage. Okay, so you can go in here. So that's one USB 3. Now what I could do is, if she runs out of USBs, which I think she will, is get a back plate to run another USB to. And I also have USB-C here. The power supply that I am using is a Corsair 620W. This is a HX 620W. Again, I'm trying to save a little bit of money because costs are high. Yes, it's 620 watts. It's a pretty old power supply, but I've had it for years, from brand new. It's reliable. I know it works. It's not second-hand, so it's going in the PC. Like I say, I love this thing. I've had it for very many years. Wow, that's a tight fit. So this is a semi-modular power supply. Very tight. This could benefit from having a small form factor power supply. I think once I get it past this lip, it's perfect. Brilliant. That's what I needed. So, power supply screws. One power supply. Now we need to deal with plugging everything in. So this particular board needs 2 EPS cables. This power supply does come with 2 EPS. Again, for its age of power supply, I think that's really good. They go right up here through this hole, just there. I shall run those like that once I've got them all plugged in. This one will go here. Marvellous. And again, back to the other side of the case. Brilliant. So 24 pin. That looks like we have everything in the right places. Now it's just a case of tidying everything up and making everything else work. And then tidying this lot up. Wow, there's a lot. So when you come back, this thing will be made and switched on and functioning, and we will see it all working, and I will see you shortly. All right, with the PC actually switched on, we have success. It's installing all the drivers and I managed to get everything working. It did come up with a BitLocker key, which I've put on off camera, and I'm going to make sure everything functions okay, and if I need to kind of reinstall everything. But here are some shots of the complete build, and we're going to see everything work. So I hope you have enjoyed this video and you've taken something away from it, whether that is that you can build a new computer. I say relatively cheap, but it's not in today's modern times. This has probably come up to around about £800 just for what's in it, and we've made a computer that's suitable for streaming across TikTok. So with that build complete, I'll say thanks for joining me. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Nelly's Nerd Cave for more gaming content and tech-tastic reviews. And until next time, happy gaming and stay nerdy.